Okay, number 6. You should really actually be really good at this. I'm not going to take much time to go over it. Basically, we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We square root everything. Square root, square root, square root, square root, square root. That becomes the top row. Or sorry, then divide everything by 2. That becomes sine at the different angles. So that gives me 0, 1 half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and then 1. I'm going to actually erase all this stuff here, so I can put the top of the chart in there. Alright, so angles and stuff here. So that's sine of theta. Theta is 0, 30, 45, 60, 90, or 0, pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2. Cosine is the sign written backwards, so I go 0, 1 half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, 1. And then tan at the bottom is dividing, we know that sine over cosine is tan, we just proved it in number 5. So I divide the top row by the next row to get the third row. That gives me 0, root 3 over 3, 1, root 3, and an infinite or undefined answer there. So I'll draw some lines in here. This is going to help us with number 7, so I'm just going to go ahead and do number 7 here on the left side. So, sine, so that's number 6. Number 7, it asks for sine of negative 240. So I'm going to go like this, draw axis. It goes around negatively, so I go clockwise from there, from 0. 180 is to there. After 180, I have another negative 60 degrees to go, so I go to here, like that. And then I look at my reference angle there at 60. That's just from here down to the x-axis. Remember, we always go to the x-axis. The other thing I need to have, and I'll write it over here, I'll stay appropriate. All students take calculus. So I got sine. So in this quadrant that we're in right here, it's quadrant 2. You look here, over at the SACT, or all students take calculus. That is positive, because the S tells us that sine is positive there. It's the only one that's positive. So I've got sine of 240, negative 240. That's equal to a positive sine of 60. Now you can see why we have the chart. So I look at 60 sine. That takes me to this spot right here, where I just put the blue dot. So I get equal to root 3 over 2. That's the answer for that. I'm going to pause it. Okay, now on to B. B asks us for the cosine of 150. It's a 5, not an 8. So it's positive. The last one was negative, so I went around backwards. So I'm going to go clockwise here. 150 takes me into this quadrant. Since this is 180, I can subtract the 2 and get a reference angle of 30. Remember, I'll say it again, like I did the last time. The reference angle is always the angle with the x-axis. So the last time I looked at SACT down here, and we were in this quadrant, and sine was positive. Now we're working with cosine. SACT tells us that cosine is not positive in that. So this is equal to negative cosine. Now I take the reference angle and I put it in here. That's 30. So 30, that. So now I go to the chart. I'll do it in blue again. cosine 30, root 3 over 2. So it's negative root 3 over 2. That's the answer for that one. Pause for a moment. I'm going to erase it. And we're back. Alright, so next, sure we'll stay in blue. Tan 14 pi over 3. So, lots of ways to do this. We know from this that pi over 3 is 60 degrees. So what I'm going to do is use the fact that I've got 14 pi over 3. I've got 1460 degrees. So I'm going to just kind of count. That's 1 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow, we're in that quadrant again. So it's pi over 3, my reference angle. I can see that because that's the gap in between the red lines I was just drawing. That, wait a second, is that right? I got one, hold on. Yep, double checked, that's right. There's an error on the study guide online, so it's kind of normal, it happens a lot. So, apologize for that. Alright, so this is tan pi over 3, the reference angle. But, once again in that quadrant, sine's only positive, so that means tan's negative, so it's negative, which gives us negative root 3 over 3. Sorry for anyone who got that and thought they were wrong because of the study guide. Get it? Gonna pause. Okay, two more. D, cosine negative 2 pi. This one's actually super simple. Well, negative 2 pi, oops, that's positive 2 pi. Negative 2 pi, I'll do it in blue, comes negative around here, 2 pi, one rotation, so it brings me back to 0. So this is really just cosine of 0, which is equal to 1. Last one, E, cosecant of 7 pi over 4. Need to convert to one that we know. One of these, oops, 3 over here, sine, cosine, tan. Cosecant is paired with sine. Everything has a co. So this is equal to 1 over sine of 7 pi over 4. So let's do some work to find sine of 7 pi over 4. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives me a reference angle of pi over 4 to the x-axis. So this is equal to 1 over... Alright, I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to take care of sact. Sact over here. Cosine is positive in that quadrant. I'm working with sine right here, so therefore it becomes negative. So I get negative sine of, and my reference angle is this guy, pi over 4. So that gives me negative 1 over sine pi over 4 is root 2 over 2, which is, so this is kind of messy. If you know where root 2 over 2 comes from, this is actually easy. So this is negative. How do I divide by a fraction? Multiply the reciprocal. So it's 1 times 2 over root 2. Need to rationalize root 2, root over root 2. Alright, hold on. Let me get rid of this. So let me rewrite this. That is equal to 1 negative times 2 over root 2. Rationalize times root 2 over root 2. That gives me 2 root 2. That's the product of the top. The product of the bottom is root 2 squared, so that gives me 2 cancels, gives me 2 square rooted. Don't forget the negative in the beginning was there, so it's negative. So the answer is, for this one, negative root 2.